little river run in the background, but it will be an empty map in a minute. We're not totally empty. I have started working on it. As per the thumbnail. I don't know how I feel about this new YouTube Studio AI. It's very bubbly and rounded. I feel like everything's getting bubbly from a UI perspective lately. It's going to be a spaghetti? I mean, that's the thing, is that there is reason for it. You just have to understand that the city grew up in about 50 different chunks, and none of them considered the chunk next to it. And every one of them thought they were going to be the last expansion, probably. And they just kept bolting stuff on. And when you know where those neighborhoods are separated and where that history comes from, it makes total sense. And hopefully that's what we'll learn from the new Boston season. I gotta let me get the music down in my head, because my God, is it loud. It's an intense song. We'll give it a couple minutes of River Run cinematics. I want to get started towards the top of the hour. But New Boston is the next big build. River Run is going to at least see $1 billion in the bank, hopefully. But that, you know, aside from that and finishing a few neighborhoods, River Run's in pretty good shape. The next creative itch, though, is New Boston. In particular, we're going to recreate a lot of the neighborhoods, tell the history and the story of Boston as we go. But it may seem, I think, more chaotic than it is. It's absolutely chaotic, don't get me wrong. But there is absolutely, each piece of the chaos is a piece of the history. So yeah, it's not even that, it's the entire, so for a little bit of history decoy, the entire peninsula, there's a fire, of course, in the background. The entire peninsula that Boston was born on was less than a square mile. And it was the largest town in the 13 colonies for over 100 years. So it had this huge stress of being like the original port of entry for the United States. And you know, again, it was a tiny little peninsula that had land made around it every time they ran out of room for something. So it's particularly fascinating how it all grew up, and we'll tackle neighborhood by neighborhood. And I think when you start to see, like, oh, this little pocket makes sense, and this little pocket over here makes sense in complete isolation of one another, that there's a really interesting story in the streets. At least I'm hoping that it's an interesting story, because my plan next year, 2026, is to focus on the build of New Boston, but also a documentary as well. Not cities based, but IRL based. I've got quite a bit of it written already, but then it becomes a question of pacing and how long do I spend on certain things, and some things I can talk about for much longer. So we'll see how all the pacing comes out. That one's going to be a bit of a labor of love, and then working on the background for a while. Okay. Since it's going to take a minute, why don't we kick over and load into the... Oh, where are we at here? We're at 526 million, by the way. Not too bad, but I haven't been letting it run enough. We'll get to 1 billion soon enough, though. At this rate, that'll be a 2026 thing as well, though. Okay, quit to main menu, and we got to go into the editor. I did have a pretty well built out snow version of the map, but everyone voted for the non-snow version. I had started messing around. I think when I go to do the build, I'm just going to throw infinite money on because I don't want to have to build the city up to tear it down to get the buildings that I want. So, did I build your house? Not yet. Not yet. Not for a bit, potentially. Where are you at? Okay, so we're going to go back out to the main menu. We're going to go into the map editor. You can do new maps and set themes here. In this case, I've got a couple things. So I've got the, excuse me, New Boston that I worked on way back in the day. And then the newer one, which I haven't put all the resources in yet. DC was late in terms of grid structures. There's a lot of sense to the grid structure of DC. Boston is very unique in that regard. So Boston was, are we not starting anymore? I think I can take that down. Waltham, the map's not that big, unfortunately. We can't get out that far. But welcome. Stay tuned for New Boston coming soon. So let me see. I think, yeah, I got it here. Where is the grid work? Let me see if I can find it here. I don't know if I noted DC. Let's see. Okay. So obviously, well, not obviously, Boston was founded in 1630, and some of the first roads were laid as far back as then. Philadelphia wasn't planned until 1682. Manhattan was 1811 and Baltimore was 1816. I did not note DC on here, but I'm assuming it was a little later as well, which gives it, they all have the benefit of, you know, all of those cities, Philadelphia, Manhattan, Baltimore, all have grids that endure to this day. So they were fortunate enough to come along after Boston and learn from some of the mistakes. Okay, so this is what I've got so far. If you saw the thumbnail, you kind of have an idea what's happening here. But essentially what I did was I went into Google, got a shot, you know, an overhead satellite view of the area, and then started to create the shape. The other thing that I did, it's a little harder to do. We're doing this in console, so this is all, you know, kind of hand-drawn. And it's difficult to see down here, but on foot, you'd think, like, it looks flat from far away, Boston. Doesn't seem like there's too much to it. But when you get especially into the original peninsula and the north end up here, in particular, there's Beacon Hill, which is pretty imposing, and that is still there. So again, these are tough to see when we're zoomed out to this God scale, but these should look fairly hilly. I don't know what I'm gonna do with the edge of the map just yet. So I have built up some of the surrounding area, but I've built it all up to the actual topography. And I think I've got one that I haven't done. No, I did it. Okay, never mind. Do I have one that I haven't done yet? No, I've started to bring up the ground all around the edge of the map. So essentially what I've done here is in this same view, I've gone to land surveys and set like the center of each tile to a certain height. And essentially how I'm doing that is I'm using the flat original ground as a base reference. I'm coming into roads. We're using the elevation step set to full and counting each of these as 9. So that's up 9, that's 18, that's 27. So let's say we wanted to raise the ground to 27 meters over here in the corner of the map. We could put a road down. I'm gonna show you a very small version of this because I don't want to mess things up. We will shift the terrain. Go a little bit bigger than the, don't worry about it. That's fine. Totally fine. Because then what you do is you come into the flatten and grab right on the road, and it will flatten to that height. And then you can use a combination of maybe some jagged edges, some slope tool, some smoothing tool to kind of bring everything up to that point. So that's just how I did like actual height mapping, or at least as close as I'm willing to go with some of the hills in the surrounding area. Now the question becomes though, do we take a little bit of creative license and give ourselves a little bit of mountain outside the edge so that there's a clear-cut reason why, you know, the city would stop? We could do that with trees, which we will do. I haven't done any trees in the map yet, but essentially that is my thinking, right? Is I want there to be some barrier, some reason why we're not building off the map. We've placed, this is the parcel of land where Logan Airport would be. So up here up here's the very chaotic part of Boston in particular. If you look at the roads, and you see the chaotic part, it's up here. This is the north end. Now, another thing, people from the area may understand this. I've gone a bit of old Boston, so we're gonna start with the highways elevated, which tore apart neighborhoods in the 50s and 60s. To then later be buried underground in what was called the Big Dig, one of the most expensive, most over budget infrastructure projects ever in the world. Might still be most over budget in the United States ever. Very, just a fiasco top to bottom. And all they did was take the horrible traffic of Boston and bury it under the ground. They didn't solve any of the traffic. They just hid it out of sight from the people that aren't stuck in it. But we're going to do that. We're going to build the chaotic north end. We're going to presume that all this land was already made, because parts, especially like the back bay, which would be over here, you have these very, very neat grid-like streets. And basically they wanted to keep the wealthy voters in Boston, so they built new fancy neighborhoods for them in the 1800s. And you see it's like one of the few parts that's actually considered on its own, top to bottom, just nice clean grid, waterfront properties, nice location in the city. And it literally did not exist. All this land was dumped here. So there is a historian, I believe she's a professor at MIT, Nancy Seasholes. She wrote a couple great books. She contributed to an atlas. What is it? I'm gonna get the name of it right. Hold on. I got it right over here. The Atlas of Boston History, edited by Nancy Seasholes. Great book that goes into general Boston history. But then there's also a fantastic book specifically on the land making principles in Boston. She calls it Gaining Ground, was the name of the book. And she's got an interesting take on it not technically being landfill, because that's filling on top of existing land, and it not being land reclamation, because you're not diking or pumping out water to get the land back. You're literally taking land from somewhere else and moving it into effectively what is shallow tidal flats around the Boston area to create that new land. Anyways, fascinating topic. And Nancy Seasholes is a great expert in it. I've read a lot of her stuff, and it will be heavily referenced, I'm sure, as I go through and further dig into the history for the documentary next year. Hopefully next year. I don't know. I'm going to be working on it for sure. Hopefully I can crank it up. I want to do it right. So we'll see. Anyways, in the meantime, again, the particularly chaotic part, and maybe we do a little side by side here. Hold on a second. Let me find a Boston street map. Images. I mean, that's not terrible. Boston road map. I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna drag this in. Hold on a second. No. Can I save this? Save image as? Why is it a GIF? Okay. Anyways, so this is in the top section, northeast by the trip info. Is my mouse on? I don't know if it captures my mouse on screen. It does not, does it? Let's zoom in a little. So the to the right of the green line, basically, Route 93 is the main highway that comes in underneath the city now. This is the north end, effectively. And this was, again, a tiny little peninsula of land. Some of the first land in the city. All kind of right around where you see Boston. This is basically one of the first expansions, if you will. And, like, you can see the original shoreline around here. And as they needed more land, they built more land out, but it was done in multiple phases, which is why the streets are not particularly neat. And also, who cares? Because it's the end of a residential area on a tiny little peninsula of land in the 1600s. Like, what do we got to worry about traffic for? We don't have to worry about the car for another 300 years. So it was very much an afterthought. So we'll be building up that Beacon Hill to the left of here, around where it says, just to the north of the commons here, the north of the park. Move that a little bit. This is gonna be a fun little area. Boston Common is the first park in the United States. Sorry you're late. No worries, AC. I'm geeking out about Boston. The really messy streets in the north end, top right here, some of the oldest part of the city. You can kind of see, actually, there's a great documentary. Hold on a second. This kid put together a great documentary. Where the heck is it? Check out, if you just want like a fun take, I'm gonna do a much longer, more boring version of this. But this guy did a video called Boston's Map Explained or something like that. And I think he actually he interviews Nancy Seychelles in that. Where the heck? He's got like a nice outline of the neighborhoods. Yeah, this right here. So can I just like let me get this over here. I'm sorry, hold on a second. Studio mode. Let's go over to capture. Where the heck is capture? My goodness, I am rusty at this. I need a better setup. Chrome, Boston's Map Explained. There we go.
Pretty solid foundation.
Okay, so this is actually a really cool. So this is like kind of him coming in from the outside, and it's actually a pretty cool breakdown. There's a couple things that I would do different. I would specifically break out South End for sure. And probably talk about the seaport more, as it's more the modern development. But there's a couple key things here. Top right is the north end. To the left of that is what's called the west end. The big giant green park in the middle is Boston Common and the gardens. And then Beacon Hill is that group of streets above that. To the left, where that really neat grid is just south of the water, that is the Back Bay. That's the neighborhood where they tried to keep, all the rich voters in. And in case you're wondering, and if you know the song about the dirty water, that is the dirty water right there, the Charles River. Just across the way is Cambridge and MIT. Okay. Out of studio mode for a minute. Actually, interestingly enough, perfect timing, AC. Are we finally going to do Boston? We are. So AC will probably be able to figure this one out. So there is, so this is going to be where the Back Bay is. Essentially, did I turn both those images off? Or did I jump this back? I jumped that back. Okay. So over here is where Beacon Hill is. And there's a street over here called Tremont Street, indicative of what used to be here. Now there is just Beacon Hill, but there were two other hills, and they chopped off all of the dirt and stone They basically just drilled them down to nothing. Or I shouldn't say nothing. Now they're about a 3 meter above average and 7 meter above average hill versus like the 23 meter above average height that Beacon Hill is in comparison to the rest of the city. But it's again, it's a little bit all over the place. But Tremont is 3 mountains, Tremont. And essentially in a reference to the 3 mountains that used to be here. Really 3 hills, let's be honest. They didn't chop down mountains, but that's where they got a lot of the dirt for some of the initial expansions of the Shawmut Peninsula itself was chopping down the height of what was there in an effort to redistribute it around the area. Now, you want to talk about consequences of global warming and water rise. Boston, should that happen, is going to absolutely be affected. The average height of the city of Boston is just 3 meters above sea level. So, yeah, you have a city called Two Mountains, exactly. So that's what Tremont is. We will be building. There will be a Tremont Street. Emerson University, are they on Tremont? I'm trying to think. They're right up there. They're right above the Commons. We'll put a little reference to them in there. They were the Emerson University was the university in Meander. In this one, though, we're going to be doing quite a bit. So we're going to be doing Boston University. We will do Boston College. We will throw in a little nod to Emerson College up in the theater district. We're going to do a big park. And I think I'm just going to do this on creative so that we can skip straight to the things that we want to build when we want to build it and worry about the story that we tell rather than the grind of unlocking this stuff for the first time. Let's kind of see where we're at here. I think I've got all my highway connections done. Now I have a reason to use the airport DLC. I still don't know. I might just drop the Metropolitan in here. I might still do it. I don't know if I have the patience for it, but we'll see. Highway wise, since we are on the literal East Coast, that is the Atlantic Ocean over there. We've got a highway coming from the north. That's 93 south into the city, 93 south out of the city. And then this is the Mass Pike. So 90 east and west. This is very much industrial, but I thought, maybe you can tell, there's a little bit of a fertile land plot over here. I thought we could do some greenhouses and stuff and have a little bit of shipping in and out. We could do maybe industrial stuff up here, up on the other side of the airport. This is basically Revere and Lynn up that way. There's a highway coming down the coast, what will be to the airport. And then we will probably do a tunnel system underneath from the main city to the airport, which is how you would get there in real life from the city. You'd take the tunnel in. But that's kind of what we've got so far. It's a relatively decent recreation. It's not perfect by any means. This Charles River is also a little funky there. I just want to trim it back just a little bit, just a little right there. All right, let's let the water fill in. Actually, let's settle. We'll smooth that out just a little bit now that I made a mess of that. Okay, we'll pause it. I don't know when the city will actually start, but I've had to play it to let some water settle down and things like that. Why is this not filled up? Did I make this recently? Is that not... Have I not let that play long enough to fill up with water? I think it slopes up a little bit, but I didn't think so much that it wouldn't fill. Okay, it's filling. We're good. So one of the first things that we'll tackle is building up here. And I want to use, like, I might do all high density European and see what, does anyone know what single block residential looks like a 1x1 high density? Because that's kind of what the street should be here. 1x1 high densities, streets as close together as possible, with one causeway street basically acting as a beltway around the area. I'm trying to figure out what to do. I want to keep the highway interchange relatively simple. It's a 3-way. We don't need to make it a 4-way because we don't need to worry about traffic exiting right there. We can do that in a couple spots. We will probably have an exit that comes off this way. I might want to mark these a little bit now. We'll want to come off this way. Maybe this is a 4-way exit there, or a one where we can go both directions. Now, this is a highway up here. This is called Storo Drive that runs along the Charles River. This is going to come off of 93. In fact, it splits off before the bridge. I wish we could do the Zakim Bridge. Zakim Bridge is a really cool bridge. Is it still the widest cable-stayed bridge? I don't know if it is anymore. The widest cable-stayed bridge in the world, 183 feet across 10 lanes. 10 lanes of traffic that are going nowhere, by the way. Literally nowhere. Parking lot. But it's a beautiful bridge. Where's a good shot? Where's a good shot? There's a lot of good shots, actually. How is this one? How is this one? That's a bad shot. Okay, well, none of these blow up great. Hold on a second. I mean, I guess that's not terrible. Save image as. Yep. Okay. This is the Zakim Bridge in Boston. Again, the widest cable-stayed bridge in the world at 10 lanes across. Looks like it was under construction at the time of this picture. Pretty, not functional, but pretty. I mean, it's totally functional if you put it in the right place. Downtown Boston is not the right place for traffic flow. It's pretty rough. But it's a really nice looking bridge, and this is basically taken from the roof of the Boston Garden, because that's basically where you'd have to be standing to get that picture. Right on the other side of the bridge. So as you come into the city, basically, as you come into the city across the bridge, this lane is going to peel off to the right to take you down to Storo Drive or to the Boston Garden, which would be right here. So maybe we can put like the college basketball arena down here, just off the highway. Might be a cool spot for it. But I wish we could do a different cable-stayed bridge. There's some great stuff in the workshop if you play on PC. In fact, there might even be a Zakim Bridge. It's a great thing if someone's looking for something to practice and model and create, because again, it's a pretty bridge, just not functional. But that's Bostonians' fault. This is going to be a hectic build. I think it's going to be fun. Maybe we put in... Let's see what the trees look like once we start to separate out these areas. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a brush. And I say I'm going to make a brush, but we're going to do it with some specific settings. We're going to go to the widest setting. We're going to go all the way up, and we're going to come down 3 clicks. We're going to come down 3 clicks. And I'm just going to spam right around the immediate edge of the map. We'll come up and clean any that get in the water. I want to try not to change my zoom, but I did already. We won't worry about over there. And I'm not going to worry too much about where things are really hilly, and we'll come up and clean up along the riverside later. So if we do something like that, we can do that a couple times with a couple different brushes. So in this case, the oak. We'll do the same thing. We'll just come around the 5 tiles. Was it not placing there? It wasn't, was it? We'll just be a little wild with it, especially on the edge of the map. And we can get lighter with the trees the further away that we get. Let's see. And yeah, we can fill in more trees. I want to find this balance where it looks good. We don't want to have trees. We don't want to have trees too far up the mountain, especially on these little crispier edges here where the grass is having trouble growing. Trees would have trouble growing as well. So we need to consider that when we're placing them. I was starting to mess around with some ridges up here just to kind of draw some stuff in. I got to smooth that out. But I'm trying to, get an idea too, right? Like, what's it going to feel like down here? There's going to be buildings all around you. There's hills off in the distance. I think I want kind of that hilly approach. Maybe it doesn't have to be that tall, but some height off to the sides. I think that could work. Is this the historical documentary build? It is. It is. So this is Boston today, essentially. I'm not going to do the whole Franklin thing. Like, I'm not going to start with a peninsula and slowly grow that peninsula through time. Like, we're going to talk about all the individual neighborhoods. It just won't be as deep as a Franklin. And if you don't know Franklin, that's fine too. Do Not Eat did a series where they basically went through all of the history of Philadelphia and recreated it in called Franklin. I went way heavy-handed with the trees on that one. So I think we'll stick to, because it's New England, we'll stick to the conifers, the oaks, and then we'll throw in some Mr. Mason pines as well. Those trees are looking very thick in spots on the edge there, which is okay. I can delete this. This is how I was doing my height, by the way, if you missed this earlier. Consider this flat ground, for example. You can come in here, and I got some topographic information on the areas around Boston, and basically figured out the center of each square, what that average height is, and then where each of these ticks is 9, 18, 27. You could bring the ground up to that spot, and that, would be like a 27, for example. So the height mapping, although, done manually, is something I actually considered in this map build, and the surrounding hills are brought up to the appropriate height that they would be IRL. But we're going to take some creative liberties with the edge of the map again, and I think, you know what, like these hills at about 50 meters are enough. It's fine, like when you're down here on foot. it's plenty to obscure the distance. And then as long as our camera or the fog is at the right angle, like, and you don't see that edge necessarily, then I think we'll be in pretty good shape. We can't do cinematic camera yet. It won't follow the highway because there's no entities to follow. Okay. I just realized I have my speakers on the whole time. Is the music echoing back at all? Because I could just listen without my... Yeah, the noise gate seems to close off when I'm not talking, so I guess I'm okay. I don't know. Let me know if you hear any music feedback. I'll fix it. Sin lives in Phoenix. Only one who cares about a history of arrogance nature. Arguing about water rights and the landscaping choices. Yeah, there are a lot of towns. I mean, Phoenix especially. Like Arizona is just generally a bad idea. From a water perspective, like Vegas, Phoenix, like we're not supposed to be there. We are not supposed to be trying to live there. Up here in New England is bad enough, but like, you know, you dress warm, you murder some trees in the winter, and you make it out the other side when the plants come alive. But like without electricity, like we shouldn't be in the desert. You need air conditioning. You need water brought over from 3 states away. Like, it's a bad sign. Okay, so I've got to figure these out. That's probably not what we're doing. What else do I have to do though, right? So I put a bunch of markers where I want to do exits. We could do some highway exits. The starting tile is going to be the north end, west end, Beacon Hill, some of the park, financial district. Like there's a lot in the starting tile in Boston. Is it too cold? My wife is letting the dog out to go to the bathroom, but it is, well, it's 39 out. It's a very brisk 39. Her nose is very cold. My wife, she made me touch her nose. I absolutely hate the cold. I'm not built for it. You're in Canada, AC. Okay. She says she'd hate living in a hot area more. I get that. I cannot handle Florida in the summer. Forget it. It's just you like it's 98 with 117% humidity. Your eyeballs sweat just looking at the outdoors. Get the Hoover Dam, but end of list of power distribution. Yeah. I think I was starting to think about highway exits. And then I got off on a tangent about Storrow Drive and this highway coming off of 93. So we're going to have to come off that way for sure. And I guess technically Storrow Drive would return. Then we're going to have exits for Storrow Drive at least at the front and bottom end. This is an interesting part of town. So again, it was to keep the rich voters here, and it was grid-liked and planned in the 1800s, so they learned from Manhattan. And the streets are alphabetical going east to west. So Arlington, Berkeley, Clarendon, Dartmouth, Exeter, Fairfield, Gloucester, Hereford, and then it skips to Mass Ave, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Yeah, I think after Hereford, it skips to Mass Ave. And then right across the river is the MIT campus. So this is going to be a fun part of the map to build. We'll exit here. We'll probably do a pike exit here as well. We should do another one here at the side of the tile. And that should be okay, because we're going to feather things off a bit somehow over here. I think the terrain is what we have to do. It's the easiest way to do things when you have the tile restrictions. Up here. Now, I'm almost reluctant to spend time on the highway exits up here because ultimately we're going to bury it all under the ground. But itself could be a fun... I regret using the word fun. We'll definitely have an exit somewhere over here. We'll do them about like a tile away so we can space them out. And we won't have any exits up here because this basically just comes into the airport directly. Come on, dog. Cold out there. It is 61 in Arizona right now, if that makes you feel any better.
Let's go to Arizona.
Okay. Do you want to know what the summers are like?
It's a dry heat.
It's a dry 115, babe.
And you know what? I would rather have a dry 115 than a Florida 90.
Yes, that's awful. Florida 90 is awful.
When you walk outside and you're like, oh, my shirt is wet and it's not raining. It's just me.
That's Florida, actually. That's the Florida swamp water. It's nasty. It's nasty. Cold and arthritis don't get along? Tell me. I have arthritis and I have cold. Okay, we can all apparently agree that Florida weather is gross, though. That's good. At least we have a consensus there. $115's not as bad as you think. Just wear gloves. It's so hot you have to wear gloves because you might burn your hands touching things? That's for cooking on the grill, not opening your car door. The environment is trying to scream at you so bad to get out of there. What are you wearing oven mitts for? Oh, I gotta go get something out of my car. It's crazy. Crazy. Okay, hey, there is... What is today? The 10th? And the holidays are coming up, and who knows? Do I have gifts? Can I gifts? Membership gifting? Do I have gifts? Five free gifts for your emoting purposes. No obligations. And welcome. There are silly emotes if you'd like to use them now. And if you're new, subscribe because we will be coming back to build on this at some point. Tonight's not the night. Tonight we're building and painting trees and talking history. We'll still be talking history in the actual series. So let's see here. Oh, we've got to consider, I think I did shipping lanes already. Oh, did I do them before I had the, whoops. I did them before I had that land in there. Do ships just go right through the land? They don't seem to have a problem with it. How has Sin not gotten a gift membership yet? I don't know. I think if you like actually gift, can you choose if you gift? I think you can on Twitch, like you can pick people to gift. But I don't know. I get 10 to give away every month. So that was the second half of those. Did it early this month, but it's better than forgetting. It's free. It doesn't even matter, you know? You're under no obligation. Don't think you can on YouTube. I thought maybe I'll have to pay more attention next time I do the free gifting. But yeah, I don't entirely know how that works. I just know they let me give away 10 now in chunks of 5. They're getting a little bit better slowly but surely about the some of the tools and stuff. They added the top fans and XP. They track things a little bit better. You still got a long way to go though if they want it to be a live platform. I'm only here because this is where my videos are. Okay, let's fix this because I broke this real bad. I had 2 shipping lanes coming through here, and then I got cute and added that peninsula there, which I think is okay. But now we have to reconsider the shipping lanes. So those shouldn't even come up here, really. You know, this is the airport here on the left. This island is where the airport will be. So what is this? This is 1, 2, 3. We'll come out 4. We'll do that, and then can we do the same thing here? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Right there. Nope. Whatever, close enough. We'll be fine. So I just want the traffic. That's a little... I mean, it's just shipping traffic out here on the edge of the map that's gonna like swirl in before it stops either here or here. Or be my 2 main ports most likely. I could bring stuff up into the channel here, but we could probably just do ferries or fishing boats if we wanted to make it look a little more alive. So I'm not going to worry about that too much, I don't think. I just wanted the shipping to come up and down here. This is really bugging me though. Just needs to be a little bit of a smoother curve. Where is the... Is it not going to let me... Okay, good enough. Personal preference, but if you turn off the fogs, makes it easier to see and build. Yeah, I had that off. I think I put it back on for the screenshot and I totally forgot. It's deceivingly different. What? Oh, I'm also sliding. I'm like, why is it changing? Because apparently the D-pad or the stick both moves the camera and the slider. Guys, this game has been out since 2023. Tantalus took it back over, like they left and came back. Sometimes I wonder why I do this to myself. Why don't just play the PC version. But we're gonna do this. We're gonna get this done. So if we have highway exits there, it doesn't seem like a lot. So we'll have one coming in. We can split off here to industry and farming. This will take us back up. We probably need another one. I gotta get off that menu. We probably need another one around here somewhere. Somewhere around there. Spent 2 years on the map. Gotta get going on the city. I'm trying to get away from like a perfectionist mentality. Like it's something that stops me from doing things sometimes. Like the documentary that I want to work on, that I have been working on for a very long time. Like I want it to be amazing, but at some point, like I also have to make concessions and realize that like, hey, I'm a 47-year-old dad with a job, not a full-time documentarian. So there's gonna have to be concessions. But it has always like almost paralyzed me from doing the thing sometimes. What were we? 1, 2, 3 clicks down? I wonder if at this range away, like we're never gonna see over here. I think we can get away with a lot less trees out there, right? And maybe just do the oaks and for like a little bit of color mix. Something like that, maybe. Yeah, you gotta go start building it. I mean, unless the map making is more enjoyable, and then just make the maps. I'm gonna get very sparse up here on the hill. We'll get some oaks here and there. I know one thing that Egg and I disagree on is I bet Egg would think I use way too many trees. But life is trees around here. There are trees everywhere. Wherever there is not people, there should be trees. That's how we do in New England. All right, let's just see what this nonsense looks like. I don't know if this is going to work. But like when you think about where we're coming from, and that fact that there's fog on the map, and your focus is on the build in front of you. It's really more about just hiding the edges of the map than it is anything else. Which a down camera angle does a lot of the work. Yeah, no, we'll keep the trees down. We're only at 14,000, and I'm not planning on really putting trees on the map itself. That'll be like an afterwards decoration thing. So we won't go too crazy with them. I'll probably keep it hopefully under 100,000. And if we have to, we can always, if we find the performance being an issue, we can edit the map and hide the ones on the outside of the terrain. I think I will make a little bit of a mountain here only. Let's see if we do this. If we come in here and make this ridge a little sharper. We'll plant some trees to fill it in, but there's very much a reason why, the trees wouldn't be growing there, and it lets us do a little bit maybe sparser of a tree layout up on top of the hill. And then if we even bring the backside of the hill down a little bit, we don't have to put any trees over there. How nice would a fall trees pack be, man? It's a shame. Okay, so big brush will go a little bit lighter up here. Well, that's a lot bit lighter. But at that range, that's okay too, especially if we come in for a second and third pass with other trees. And then before we forget, we really should come in here for a Norway spruce pass. Just for a little bit of mazing in there. I don't think we did Norway spruce on the way around. So we'll give it a little bit of a tappy tap all the way around, just to sparkle it up a little bit. It's not a lot, but especially here on the edge where we will see them more, I think it's a little more pertinent. We could do the same thing with an initial pass with some pines out here, but then I also definitely want to do pines like way up here because they are taller and it will create a little bit. I've noticed this a lot, the trees unloading when you are in the map editor, like it's pretty busted. Okay, so let's see what that looks like now with the pines sticking up. So it gives us this occasional height from time to time. And I know, like we're ultimately talking about console trees, which is the irony. Like it's pretty rough. Some of these have partial snow on them because of the way they're animating the line. That's so weird. Like why would the tree be see-through just because it's sitting on that dash? I guess so you can still see the dash easy, so you can't cover it up with trees. That's odd though. Okay, let's see what we can do here. I want to create a bit of a ridgeline here? Or do we just get away with the hills and the trees? I might just get away with the hills and the trees. I think it might be okay. Let's take a look here for a second. Hold on. Now we could do a lake if we wanted to, right? What does this let us do? It lets us change the sea level or add a new water source. What did they do here? So underneath the base game, I can do a water source or I can move sea level. Underneath the content creator packs, I can place a water source or move sea level. Guys, serious, this is somebody's job. This came out in 2023. It blows my mind sometimes. And this is the A team now, don't forget. Tantalus is the ones with the experience working on this game. Can't wait to see what Ice Flake Studios whips up. The good news is it's a low bar, so if we just keep our expectations equally low, I think that's key. I think that's really key. Because again, if we go into map pack 4, this is an intersection that you can pay for. So again, keep your expectations very low at this point. I've been screaming for a Yumble intersection pack for so long, and this is what we got. Like, okay, a 3-point roundabout. You didn't exactly save me a lot of time on that one. This one's okay. But like, I feel like it's different for the sake of being different. And then the split trumpet interchange. Also like, what a, like not particularly useful. And then you look at what you can drop in from Map Pack 3, and it's like, well, this a Clover Mill, first of all, looks a lot better and is more functional. You got a double trumpet interchange, even though it's at a little bit of an odd angle. It's a nice intersection. The three-way stack, which is what I used as a footprint over here, but I wanted to change it up from essentially what are single lane highways becoming single lane offshoots, and I figured I could probably do something similar myself. I never came back around and figured out how to do the left turns. We gotta do 3 left turns basically. However, we get all that crammed in there. Damn, I make better intersections than that crap. Yeah, exactly. That's Map Pack 4. This is what they chart. There's worse stuff. This is just what's in the editor. There's a single layer version of this that is equally as offensive. They just didn't have the highway on top also. And then they have the Slough or Swindon. The Magic Roundabout. They have the Magic Roundabout. I get them mixed up because of The Office, the original Ricky Gervais. Every DLC except the last one. This is a great reason not to buy the last one, apparently. I think you got all the good stuff. You can certainly skip Map Pack 4. It is uninspiring at best. And the intersections, which I think for a console player like me is the real appeal. Like Map Pack 3, even if you don't use the maps, I think having these intersections is kind of cool. This isn't even all of them. There's more in the game. But Map Pack 4, my God, those intersections, not good. They had no, like, and I don't mean any offense to the creator because they got asked to do a thing. But like, I hope, like, I don't know the creator, but like, if you ever find me, and to be fair, like I made crappy intersections back in 2017 on console when it first came out. I mean, I'm still not making the best, but if I'm up there touting, like, if ever there is a day where the Move the Mouse pack comes out and it's this, call for medical assistance for me because I've had a stroke. I need medical assistance if this is my output. So just keep that in mind. If you ever see, I don't know, like a CS2 console edition comes out with a workshop or something, and I can actually share an intersection. That's not a thing that's going to happen, is it? But if I post that, maybe I should just post that to see if anybody calls for help. Do you need assistance? Vanilla interchanges are even worse. Yeah. They're pretty rough. Like the basic Cloverleaf. This one still gets me, like. I don't know. It's rough. If it wasn't so slow to load, I would pop in and show you. What do we still have to consider? Now, this is something that I will want to load in and test out to confirm. Technically, the air travel over your map, they will fly those lanes and then deviate to get to the airport. So if you put your flight paths directly above the airport, they will like fly to the airport and then spiral down almost uncontrollably. Versus if we put our routes like over here on the other side of the map, like they will fly this way and then turn to the airport. Technically, most traffic coming into the airport would come in this way, and then takeoffs happen this way, I believe. Yeah, because you come in over the neighborhoods, so you've got to be coming in this way. Okay. Yeah, you're coming in this way and you're taking off that way towards the Atlantic and then swinging back around outside the city. Flight paths outside the 25 tiles. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a good idea. Do I want them somewhat realistic? Do I want them coming from the Atlantic? Just like edge of the map kind of stuff? Or do we want them flying way down here on the south? I think we want them flying way down here on the south. Now, what do? We could do up to 4 plane connections, but I don't necessarily know that we need them. Did I actually make it out of the map, or did I just make a... Three of 4. Did I not make it off the map with these? Okay, 4. So we'll do that. I'm gonna load up the city, put the airport down, and see what the planes look like flying in. See what the shipping routes look like. So they'll be coming in from sea. They'll be swinging in this way. If we do a port right there, that is very close. Maybe we do the port down here. On here, even then, that's still very close to that lane. I feel like I should move that out further. Do I even need the... Does anyone know, is this a 2-lane? I don't know how wide the shipping lanes are, but I don't want it to be that close to the shore. I want to have some room on the other one. It's 2-way? Okay. So is that one shipping lane? I don't use shipping a lot. Do I bring the shipping in here? Like, there could be... This could be more shipping and port here. There's definitely space for it. Let's do that. We don't want to come up the river, but do we turn around in here? Do I need to turn around in here? Let's see what we can do. Okay. So, okay, we'll come to the tile. We'll use that shoreline as a guide. That's way too close. They won't just take this to take this, will they? I hope not. Because I don't want shipping traffic to come through here necessarily. Only if their destination is over here. Right, they shouldn't path there just to visit the city and swing into the harbor. I hope not. They'll take the shortest path. Perfect. Good thing Outlaw knows. What do you play on Outlaw? I'm sorry if I missed it. Are you on PC or on console? I'm gonna guess console because you mentioned putting flight paths outside the 25 tiles. But maybe you were just saying it in the context of the remastered version. CS1. CS1 map editor on remastered console, Xbox edition. Making the map that will become my next build and subject of hopefully an upcoming documentary in 2026 on the history of Boston streets. That will be outside of cities. That will be like an actual IRL documentary, historical photography reference, maybe some IRL footage. Give me an excuse to get off my butt and go into the city when it gets warm out. I'm not doing it in the winter. F that. No, thank you. I can wait till springtime at least. So yeah, so this is our Boston so far. Where's my Boston map? Hold on. Here we go. Can you do opacity on this actually? Hold on a second. Filters, you can do opacity in OBS, right? Chroma key color correction? Is it under the color correction that you can do? Yes, you can. Okay. So opacity. Let's see if we can get this. Hold on a second. And now, is it this one? No, that's not the one. This one? Where? Oh man, where is this? Sorry, hold on, everybody. This is incredibly high tech here. So kind of. No, I was closer before on the zoom. So kind of around there. My angles are off on the river, but you can kind of see what's happening there. With some of the layers. It's not perfect. It's, you know, this is literally drawn with a controller, so there's only so much we can do. NYC in Toronto next. I forgot. I don't know why. I was looking at like actual road maps, not like a globe map or like a way zoomed out. And I was looking at northwest, like Buffalo area, New York. And like, I forgot how close Toronto is. It is not, I don't know why in my brain it's like over by Minnesota. It's like in the Dakotas. Like for some reason in my American brain, I put it in Manitoba. Actually, I'm sorry, in my American brain that doesn't know Manitoba exists, I put it somewhere over there. I wonder how many Americans could name the Canadian provinces. So I feel like I forget. Is Northwest Territories and Yukon both considered? Like, I feel like those are the ones that I forget. I feel like I could bust out the other ones. As long as it's Newfoundland and Labrador and not separate, and then I think I got them. You Americans think Toronto's at the US-Canada border? I'm sorry, comparatively, AC, it is. Like, you have the Arctic Circle. Like, you have a huge country that is basically directly at the border. And to be fair, most of my geographic knowledge of Canada is because of where certain hockey players come from. It's the only reason I know what Saskatchewan is. I would think it's a different country if I wasn't a hockey fan growing up. I'm sorry, the Canadian border is just Niagara Falls and woods. I don't know why you're getting upset here, AC. It's trees and a waterfall. And then Vancouver. That's what it looks like. East to west. Ocean, trees, waterfall, trees, Vancouver. That's the border. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. This is such nonsense. Before I fling your phone across the room, don't. So good. Oh man. Okay, let's see if we can get an exit or two in here at least. I'm regretting a decision here. I want to build Vancouver. Vancouver would be a fun build. Vancouver also is a nice one that is like bounded by ocean. Here's a city. There's the mountains why you shouldn't build anymore. It is a great excuse to build in cities. Like I love maps that give you that reason why there isn't build out there. Honu Island, I think, does a really good job at that, even on a 9-tile build, but it does even better on a 25-tile build. Like, there is a reason why you wouldn't build out there. There's a reason why it would be concentrated on the island. I don't remember the name of the map, but whatever one I used for Greenwood, like that bowl of mountains, was a really good one as well. And I'm enjoying River Run most recently as my favorite 25-tile base game map so far. Recently discovered. And that's a base game map that has been there forever. It's just like it wasn't fun with a 9-tile, and it is very playable and enjoyable on 25-tile. So here's what I'm thinking, chat. Here's my dilemma. So I'm building this up. This is going to be Boston. It's going to be a newer, better version of Boston. But if we don't make some of the same mistakes, I don't think we can really call it Boston. Along those lines, though, I am making more work for myself because this highway is elevated and going to tear the city apart. And then later on, we're going to rip it to shreds, build like, I don't know, grass line, tram street or something, and bury the highway problem under the ground, just like Boston did in the Big Dig. And there will be a lot to talk about on that one. But I'm just thinking, like, how much time do I put into these highway exits to rip them apart? Do I just do, like, you know, basic diamond interchanges and deal with the traffic as the city grows? I think so. I think we do. But then at that point, I also want to take a look at my main causeway street, which actually is, interestingly enough, is called Causeway Street. We're very original here. If it's not broke, don't fix it. So that would come out. That would come out there to there and there. I'm just trying to get an idea of like how this all tucks away in here. So if this later on becomes essentially Causeway Street, it could run. There's going to be an exit somewhere around here because we want to dump out to this street that basically maybe a little bit further in so that we can zone plenty of space behind it, at least the full property and maybe like docks sticking out. You know, but maybe that does something like that. It's going to come, we'll get more specific. It's going to come under the highway. And then this area over here, immediately on the other side of the highway, was this, is this odd triangle that got filled in. So like this wasn't land. And you can see like a very clear, like this is absolute chaos of streets every which way over here. And then there's this very neat triangle of like two rows of a triangle like this, basically, in the absolute chaos of the downtown. And it's just like, it's so easy to spot when you see it from above. So we'll be doing all the little neighborhoods like that. It's not going to be a perfect one-to-one, but it's going to capture a lot of the spirit of the build. But I'm just thinking, like, so we kind of have to have room for the causeway, and that, yeah, so that would come up here by the Storo Drive exit, and the other side is basically where we want the exit down here. So this exit primarily, at least in my idea of the build, is going to exit to the right to Storo Drive. We'll have one exit somewhere around Beacon Hill, and then we can kick traffic across the river into Cambridge, Museum of Science, MIT, all that stuff. And then we'll come down here in the back bay and deliver a bunch of traffic that way. And sorry if I missed it, if AC was serious about going to bed before flinging their phone across the screen, but across the room. But good night if that was the case. Belated. Map building on console is about beautifying everything outside the 25 tiles. You can fix the rest, yeah, in the game. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I mean, that's the thing is like I'm trying to get all those ideas out and make sure that there's room for at least these micro builds. I want these little ideas of Boston, you know, in this 25 tile console build. There's plenty of limitations, obviously, without mods, without assets. We're gonna make do with what we can in the game. But yeah, it's a good point. You wanna nail the outside because you can't touch that again. Everything inside we can. I'm gonna definitely bring more trees on the edge of the map. And I'm not, you know, at the point where I'm gonna finalize this anytime too soon. So I am gonna debate the hills a bit. This northwest area, like this is basically Medford over here. Well, I guess technically like Somerville, Medford up on the hill, Malden way back there off the map. This is a higher part, so like if we're doing things to scale, like that is the hill that's over there. Is that okay there? I think and again, I think that's great. But do I build a similarly sized hill to the north of the mountain? I think it's enough with the trees and the hill. I think we're okay there. East is water. It's Atlantic Ocean. There's only so much we can do. Going to bed soon. Just doing a few updates. Game before bed. Okay, so I did not miss you. That's good. Please don't throw your phone across the screen. We will have a separate Canadian. American talks about Canadian. Ooh, tell me that's not a clickbaity title. American educates chat on Canadian geography. Something like that. I don't know. It's going to be so triggering for you, AC. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. I'll put a slideshow together. I don't know why, but map building makes everything feel big, and in game it's too small. Yeah, this scale is off. I have quite a few times wanted to go into drive mode or first person mode to like stand down there on the ground and get a feel for how big things are. Because this is a 4-lane highway that is 9 meters off the ground with enough space for a road to go under it, and like that is a gigantic highway looming over it. It's just an exit marker, but educate Canadians about hockey. I would unsubscribe and cancel my membership. Oh my god. That's the straw. That broke the toque. Okay, actually I should have left that marker there, but I'm gonna work on this exit real quick. I'm gonna figure out what we do down here. So if this is Causeway, and it kind of acts as a beltway through the north end, we could delete this. Roads, delete. Delete. Okay, so we don't need the actual highway road under here. But this is where we want our exit. I'll leave that one for now. I think we'll aim right about here. So, like, do we have anything we can drop in that would be cool? Probably not. Nothing that we can really convert. It's too huge. Yeah, there's really no point. We may as well, we just got to kind of make our own here. And I think Man, I can't even do like a basic diamond interchange here, can I? I could bring it down to highway and then just do like the last segment in. Do the last segment when I connect it as like regular road until we have. Oh, what am I saying? No, we're gonna have highway unlocked at the beginning, so maybe I don't even worry about the exits in the map because I am planning to do this creative, and we're not like sharing this on a workshop, so I don't need to consider people who are not playing creative. I can always come back and change it if I want to for myself. But considering I'm planning to do this with unlimited money and all unlocks, I guess I shouldn't worry about the exits right now until I get all the tools that I will have, right? I'm overthinking this a lot from a map design perspective if we're playing it with cheats. Because I can come back in and fix all this minute one with all the road tools, not just the limited palette that we have right now. Oh, they won't use the outer 2 lanes in that case? That's pretty cool. Oh, Americans react to Canadian things. Oh my god, I might have just found a new meta. And don't worry, if I do it, I will do it in a funny way, but I'm pretty sure there's going to be an episode of cities Canadian infrastructure from an American. I gotta do something. I gotta come up with something now. Okay, so let's consider our hills. I think our hill's okay here. Do we hide the exit off a map a bit? It's tough to tell. It looks like that's going to be viewable. But it's also at an angle where like you'd have to be kind of peering straight down the highway to see that. I think it's okay, especially once we put trees up and consider that we're going to be viewing it from probably a tile in. And then all of a sudden that is not, unless our camera angle happens to come all the way over here, looking out that way, it's not really an issue. All right. This disconnected highway is staying, at least for now. That is going to be Storo Drive. We could snake that up here, but I'm also going to start to do some roads and stuff once we get in. You know what? Maybe we start working on trees, which I had already started in on, but this may not be as far away as I originally thought. I still want to know why water source and move sea level on the main tab, and then the content creator tab has place water source and move sea level. Is it a different water source graphic? No, it's the same. Guys, we can add ore, oil, or fertile farmland, which I already did over here. This is what we could put over here. I thought we could do some greenhouses and ship some stuff out since it is technically legal in mass. As long as that shipping stays within international waters or Massachusetts, we're good. You just can't take it north. You can't take it north to New Hampshire. You have to stay out of that water space. You can bring it up to Maine, that'd be fine. Connecticut, Rhode Island, you're good. One New England holdout. I mean, that's presuming we grow something that would be problematic to export to other states. I don't know why I'm even saying that, because of course we wouldn't do that. So never mind that. Forget that. Strike that. Reverse it. It's fine to send to New Hampshire. It's good. They'll love it. So this will be Boston. I did Portsmouth. Maybe I do Portland down the road in Maine. I would love to do, what the hell is the name of the town? Burlington, Vermont would be cool, but there is a town in the very south. Brattleboro, Vermont. It is a tiny little town. How many people in Brattleboro, Vermont? Brattleboro population 12,000 residents. It is an absolutely beautiful town. Tiny little town. I mean, comparatively, depends on where you live. 12,000 is pretty small. It is like, it's sitting around, it's just surrounded by green mountains. Vermont is the Green Mountain state. I've been up there in winter as well. It is just, it's a tiny little town cut out of the mountains, but in the southern part of Vermont too, where like, I mean, the Appalachian like really takes off towards the top half of the state, you know, where you get all the presidential mountain range. But my God, like just what beautiful surroundings for a tiny little town. Brattleboro, Vermont, if you want to see it in like satellite view or something that lets you perceive the 3D nature of the city, of the town, highly recommended. Just what an amazingly beautiful place. Would love to do that. I would love to go all around New England. God dang, would I love a Mr. Mason tree pack. Can I just like, can we all throw that energy out there that a Mr. Mason tree pack would be just amazing, especially for New England builds. Like, oh my God. And again, I'm speaking from a console player's perspective where we don't have the ability to just go grab Mr. Mason trees on the workshop. Like that's how I made my season 7 Portsmouth build. It was a PC build. And very underrated. Yes, AC, I would agree. That's got to be a quick drive for you, right? Like, and forgive me, like you are like just outside of Montreal, right? I think at one point I was confused thinking you were closer to Quebec, but yeah, I think you're closer to Montreal, which like Burlington, Vermont. Oh my God. So beautiful on Lake Champlain. That would be another one that I would consider. So there's 2 towns in Vermont that I want to build, Burlington and Brattleboro. And then I feel like I just need to round out New England and do all the states at that point. The Portsmouth build was fun. I wish it was not corrupted. I would try taking it on again, potentially. Let's see. Where are we at? We've got a pretty good parcel of land for the airport. I'm not going to worry about resources because we're not going to do any ore or oil. I mean, we could do a little quarry. We'll get that one little spot of farmland for the exporting of the perfectly legal goods. At least in state, not federally. Let's keep throwing some trees down. So I know that we did the default conifers. We're going to do the Norway spruces as well. We'll spam some of those around there just for a little bit. We don't need to get too crazy with the trees out here. We're going to try and keep it under 100,000 on the map. Let's do that. And then let's throw some pines out here too. This is so far off that we'll keep things pretty sparse out here because we're basically only going to come to the airport, if anything. And like, that is distance. We're not going to be examining it from that level. If we were coming over here and building, I would be set. The trees disappeared. I talked about this bug already. So you're trying to decorate the map and the trees are just disappearing. It's fine. It's no big deal. Game's out any day now. CS2 console when? Now we can't go fix the tree line after the fact, so I will probably take one more pass. I'd rather have extra trees that I delete near the edge of the map than not having enough. Okay, so let's actually focus on that edge of map. So we'll come do one more pass. We're gonna do a light tree brush. So biggest brush, we're gonna come down 3 and we'll do, I guess we'll go like right down the middle of the map line. And that way we've got trees coming in off the edge and we can feather it off as we need and we won't be constrained necessarily. I'd rather, like, if we're going to do thick trees anywhere, edge of the map is the place to do it. Like I said, because you can, well, I mean, I guess you don't have to. But we do for Boston and we do for kind of constraining our map a little bit. It gives us this impression of a boundary. I mean, you could do whatever you want with it. It'd be channel your Bob Ross and do what feels right. Happy little trees everywhere. Happy little trees getting it on like rabbits. It's such a shame to think that, like, when you look at like how old some of the redwood trees are and humans like cut car paths to go through roads because like that's, so look how big the trees are, we'll build a road through it. Now some of those trees are dying. It's sad. It's sad what progress does, especially in the name of automobiles. Okay, there's a lot of trees here, so we're gonna once in a while we're gonna tap a little conifer down. I know we're getting a little crazy here. But don't worry, there is a rhyme and a reason. We're gonna hopefully stay under 100,000 for the entire map. And we can do a little bit of terraforming if we have to. What is today? Wednesday? I hope everybody's Wednesday is going well. Or Thursday if you're up very late. Or maybe if you're up at a normal time on the other side of the world. Okay, what do we have over here? I'm gonna leave the pines as a distance tree, and we're gonna put a little signature dab of pine in the corner of like each zone, right over here by the highway. Little dab of pines. Just a little bit here and there. A little bit of height, because they are a very tall tree comparatively. So like just a few, like you can see them, like they stand out like a sore thumb. You don't need a lot of them. One tree that it's okay. It's not like offensive necessarily, but if you use a lot of these, like they don't look great. One in a great while, maybe two together, but they become a very repetitive texture in comparison to some of the other trees. And in my thinking, I think they look very repetitive. They stick out like a sore thumb. The other thing that kind of is, I think, hit or miss with trees that you place outside of the map editors. I think you get the ground ruination. Inside the map editor, you don't. Is that right? I think it is, I guess. Okay, so what do these trees and hills look like? Because we want the trees in the foreground to do a lot of our work for us. We want them to hide the distance. We want the hills to work for us. I think that's pretty good so far. And we can do a much thinner pass of trees on the outer edge of the map. That highway's a little bit. I think if anything, this is the pike coming out. So this at some point will get knocked down to the ground. This doesn't need to be elevated all the way through here. This will eventually be, at least this part be buried. But we'll do it in bits and pieces. But I think hills wise, we're looking pretty good. So let's do a second pass of thinner trees. So we'll go again to the bigger brush. We were at 3. So 1, 2, 3. Do we stay at 3? Do we go down to 4? Like, I think there's like no trees in this. It's so very thin. I'm going to tap it. Because if I just hold it, it's not painting anything. It's so few. So we'll just kind of keep feathering our way out with layers of trees, and they'll get a little thinner. We'll see what they look like. Oh, I got a lot of trees over here, huh? This section I've already done quite well, I can see. So this already has a pretty good spread. We don't have anything out here. We'll fix that. We've got to, I think, intensify down here a little bit more so than on top of the plateau. Just kind of blend that top of the hill there. I need to smooth this out. Those fake ridge lines are really bugging me. Okay. Yeah, so if you're, for those of you that are new, if you're at all interested, this is going to be a CS1 remastered build, so no mods. It does have, I think I have all the DLC at this point, even some that I would not recommend, like the most recent map pack. But I will be rebuilding Boston. We're going to be making a lot of the same mistakes that Boston made, because it isn't Boston if we just use the landmass and design the traffic appropriately. So I do want to, in a way, design it. It's going to be designed in a similarly poor way, but we'll make it as good as we can with transport policies and all kinds of pedestrian options, and we'll give them choices to hopefully not just make bad traffic decisions. There will be plenty of options for that. But we will see how we can correct it in game without mods, of course, again, because it's remastered on console. I wish I could share this out. I do have, originally I was going to do this on PC. I do have a collection that I should probably update. It is an actual topographic map, so like a full-on recreation of the height map as well of Boston. And then I put together, oh God, over 1,000 assets. There are some actual Boston skyscrapers in the pack. A lot of, who's the creator? Darf? Did a lot of, I think like New York City buildings, but like the brownstones and brick buildings like fit very well in the time period as well in a lot of the Boston builds. So I did put that collection together. I think I just never published it because I never got around to doing that build. So we'll just keep feathering our way out here. Let's see. Well, yeah, we'll come back through another pass if there's really glaring gaps. And of course, we got to come in and mix in some other trees, other tree types at least. A little pocket of water there. Again, let's take a look from in the map. We'll keep filling it in, but I think the important work is done by the foreground here, which is really important when you're considering this. I went back to watch, I think they're like 5 years old at this point. Flux Trance did some videos for the Cities channel on creating maps. My God, the mountains they make are amazing. So amazing. I would just make maps all day if I could make mountains like that. So beautiful. Did Flux Trance do any of the map packs? Did they release 4 map packs and not do a Flux Trance map pack? Was there? There wasn't, right? Who did the map packs? I should probably know off the top of my head, but I don't. Anyways, the videos that Flux Trance did on map creation were really good. Just basic stuff. But I think like around the 4th video, I think they did 4 or 5 videos for the Cities channel official, and by that 5th video, there's some serious mountain grafting going on. Okay, that's just one tree type out there, so we'll mix in just for a little bit of color pop here and there, and I'm going very fast to not throw many trees down and just throw the occasional. I'll come in with a slower pass of maybe the Norway spruce, definitely some pines, but that gives us just that little bit of color variation out there, which may not look like much, but it does help quite a bit to have the different shapes, different heights, and of course a little bit of a different color palette. Just because I've only said it 3 or 4 times tonight, can we please get a Mr. Mason tree fall pack? Of all the things that we could pay for in this game still, I think that's one of the things that would be so easy to make it come alive. Then again, I would have to come in and do a brand new map, because it's not like you can have fall trees on your 25 tiles and not on the outside of the map. So I think that where are we at trees wise? We're only at 30,000, which is not terrible. I might do like one more pass on the edge of this just to make it thin out a little bit less abruptly. Like right about here. Get the regular conifer. Like, what's the 3rd conifer? Is that the wild one? Conifer 2? Let's see. So something like that. Here, let's turn the fog off for a minute. See, like you can really see where the line is there. The other thing we could do, let's do this. The other thing we could do is save it, because it's been a while. Especially before I demo a tool and say like, hey, we could do this, and then ruin the map. We could come in here with the brush turned all the way down. Yeah, and then thin out the trees where this line is a little thick. Like that. Kind of feather things off that way. It does like delete some random trees. You can see like obvious color shifts too if you stop using a certain tree type. Also, that happens. That's great. Thanks, game. But yeah, sometimes you can subtract too to achieve a similar effect. Like this blending, like instead of adding more trees, you can just thin out some of the ones that it's just a little too thick, you know? Especially like in music, it's sometimes about the notes you don't play And in this case, perhaps it's about the trees you don't plant. Specifically, any on the map itself, since we can do those later. To fill in areas especially. I'm feeling pretty good about tree coverage. Do we not have any oaks over here? You can see that the color's just not there. We'll clean up the ones by the coastline later. Is there anywhere else we didn't? It's really obvious, like when there's not oaks there. At least I guess it's really obvious, like if that's what you're looking for. But once you see it, you can't unsee it. Oh yeah, we definitely didn't hit over here with the oaks. That's pretty good. A little lacking there. A little lacking there. What does Bob Ross say? Everybody, every tree needs a friend. If you see just one little splotch of color out there somewhere, let's thin out this band again. Because I did go a little crazy here on the very edge of the map. Although again, it is a boreal area. This is, I guarantee you, what the area would have looked like before. Well, actually, no, it was a lot swampier and a lot more water. But the land that was there, I'm sure, was covered in a lot of trees. Because everything is covered in a lot of trees, unless there's something built there, basically. Still feels a little thick over here. Just trim it back a little bit until it feels right. All right. Again, let's take a look from as low as we can on map. And, you know, consider there would be stuff built here. Right, but I think there's a reason stuff stops getting built, and part of it is the hills and part of it is the trees. But we're gonna have to play with the trees and the edges a little bit more. But I think that's good for right now. That's where we're at with Boston. I might do some thin trees around the map just because it's so weird without the tiles, but then again, we can build and fill it in. I hope you enjoyed. If you're hanging out, just watching a map, come back and check out. We will build a little bit more on the map. The actual build of New Boston will most likely be a live stream. I've been streaming, but I probably, if I am being honest, will do my best to record it as well and probably post some video content again. It'll be, you know, I don't know, maybe like a 10 to 20 minute video of what happened on the stream, and kind of the build, and maybe a little behind the scenes storytelling. So stay tuned for that. And then also in 2026, I've started writing quite a bit. There will be, or there's plans to be, a documentary on the history of Boston and the shape of its streets. It is a really interesting story that I think I can tell hopefully in about an hour. It's certainly gonna take me a lot longer so far just working on it, but again, I think it's a really interesting story. So if the city's build is your thing, stay tuned for live streams, and I will get back to posting videos at some point. And New Boston will probably be the topic of those videos. And then again, coming later, if you are really interested
in Boston in general and want to find out more about the story of its crazily shaped streets, stay tuned for that, because that'll be coming sometime in 2026. There's a little teaser on the channel that has kind of like the intro for it, and maybe we can go out with that. View my channel. Where the heck? How far was this? Was a while ago. I think last year I posted it. When did I post it? 2 years ago. Oh my God. Okay. Well, someday. Here, let me do this. Okay, let's do this. We'll stop the music. Where's the music? We'll stop the music. And I will leave you with a little look at New Boston, or at least my idea for what was going to be a combo build at one point. It was going to be a build and documentary all nestled into one, but I think it's going to be two separate things. But if I go over to studio mode, if I go to... Where the heck is it? Oh my God. Capture, window, New Boston trailer. I will see you on the next one. If you enjoyed, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Leave a like if you enjoyed. It helps the channel a lot. And until next time, from New Boston, Move the Mouse signing off. And here. $550 million years ago, a chain of volcanic islands broke away from its supercontinent and drifted north. A few hundred million years later, those islands would crash into the east coast of what we now call Massachusetts. As recently as 25,000 years ago, the region was buried under 4,000 feet of ice. But as that ice receded, it revealed a glacial till of sand, gravel, clay, and a landscape ripe for life. Native Americans would first settle the land some 12,000 years ago. Although we know little of this time, changing sea levels has erased much of its history. At the time, sea level was 164 feet lower, making Martha's Vineyard and Nantucket part of the mainland. The Boston Bay Area was plentiful with shellfish, especially oysters that thrive in the warm, shallow waters. And the Boston Harbor Islands, with their slightly warmer climate, were ideal for farming crops. In the 1500s, Europeans seeking the Northwest Passage, the fabled sea route leading to the riches of China and the Far East, would instead stumble upon a new world. And in doing so, would also set out to colonize it. After 10 months at sea, the Mayflower would deliver the Pilgrims to Plymouth Rock, founding the town of Plymouth in December 1620. Many settlements soon popped up, one of them Charlestown, but due to the brackish water, a handful of settlers would relocate to the nearby Shawmut Peninsula. And it's here that our story begins. In this series, I'm going to be rebuilding Boston in city skylines. It will be something new, but also something born from its own history. It's a build inspired by its own mistakes. And some of those mistakes will be repeated, because it wouldn't be Boston otherwise. This is a bit of a departure for me, so please stay tuned for episodes when they're ready. I hope you enjoy this new version of Boston that will be built up as we learn about its past. Welcome to New Boston. Hope to see you on a future stream. Stay tuned, subscribe, and I'll see you then. Hit the like if you enjoyed. Move the Mouse signing off. Bye, everybody.